Welcome to District Command Central, your go-to source for the latest news and updates on the Washington Commanders. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss a play. When the news first broke that Za'Darius Smith was heading to Washington, the NFL world instantly lit up with speculation, rumors, and heated takes. The veteran edge rusher has built a reputation as one of the league's fiercest hunters of quarterbacks, a relentless force who thrives on collapsing pockets and striking fear into offensive coordinators. Washington, a franchise long starved for consistent pass rush dominance outside of its headline names, suddenly finds itself in possession of a weapon that could tilt the balance of power in the NFC East. Fans started buzzing on social media with declarations that Smith's arrival was more than just a move for depth. It was a statement, a declaration that the Commanders intend to transform their defense into one of the most feared units in the conference. This wasn't simply about adding another veteran, but about establishing a new identity. Imagine the energy in the locker room when a proven disruptor walks in, carrying the swagger of years spent terrorizing quarterbacks. Imagine the tension in opposing huddles when that familiar number 55 comes screaming off the edge. Smith hasn't even played it down yet in D.C., and already the hype machine is in full swing. Za'Darius Smith's arrival in Washington is not just about numbers or stats, although those certainly demand attention. Over the years, he has collected sacks and pressures at a rate that places him among the league's most respected pass rushers. But what excites people most is the timing. The NFC East is currently loaded with high-profile quarterbacks, Dak Prescott, Jalen Hurts, and Daniel Jones, and each of those names represents an opportunity for Smith to make an immediate impact. Fans and analysts alike are whispering that this signing feels tailor-made for divisional warfare. Washington's defensive line has long been praised for its first-round pedigree, with names like Jonathan Allen, Darren Payne, and Chase Young grabbing headlines. Yet, consistency has been elusive and depth has often been questioned. Bringing in a veteran with Smith's pedigree adds another dimension, an insurance policy, and a spark of intimidation. In an era when divisions are often won and lost by the ability to pressure quarterbacks, this signing feels like a strategic masterstroke. Opposing offensive lines now face the daunting task of scheming against not just one or two stars, but a rotation that includes one of the most ferocious hunters of quarterbacks the league has seen in recent memory. The rumors swirling around Smith's decision to land in Washington suggest that he chose this destination with purpose, not just as a paycheck. Sources close to the situation whisper that Smith was drawn to the opportunity of shaping a young and hungry defense, mentoring developing players, and stamping his mark on a unit that has occasionally struggled to meet lofty expectations. There's a sense that he wants to be more than just a situational weapon. He wants to be the leader, the enforcer, the figurehead of a defensive resurgence. Washington's coaching staff, often criticized for inconsistency and lack of creativity, suddenly has a proven playmaker who can disrupt game plans in ways that force coordinators to adapt on the fly. The ripple effect could be massive, freeing up younger players, giving the secondary extra seconds to make plays, and energizing a fan base desperate for excitement. Even rival fans are admitting, albeit grudgingly, that this move could tilt the scales. Washington isn't just filling a roster spot, they're sending a message. In a division as physical and unforgiving as the NFC East, adding Za'Darius Smith feels like a calculated gamble with the potential to ignite a defensive renaissance. The whispers get louder when you consider the psychological warfare at play. Quarterbacks in the NFC East now know that they will face a relentless cycle of pressure, with Smith anchoring one side and other Washington defenders crashing from different angles. Jalen Hurts, fresh off leading Philadelphia to deep playoff runs, suddenly has to prepare for another proven edge threat. Dak Prescott, who has dealt with protection issues in Dallas, must brace himself for the kind of relentless pursuit that can swing games with one mistimed throw. Even Daniel Jones, known for his mobility, will find himself on the radar of a defender who specializes in chasing down quarterbacks who think they can escape the pocket. These aren't just games on the schedule, they're battles for division supremacy, and Smith has built his career on showing up when the lights shine brightest. Fans are already predicting sack totals, highlight reel plays, and celebrations that could define Washington's season. The anticipation isn't just about wins and losses, it's about swagger. It's about an identity shift. In many ways, signing Smith isn't just roster management. It's theater, it's storytelling, and it's a challenge thrown directly into the faces of Washington's rivals. Inside Washington's locker room, the mood is said to have shifted the moment Smith's name was attached to the roster. Players who have carried the burden of expectations now see a proven veteran walking through the door, and it sparks something primal. Defenses thrive on energy, on swagger, on belief that they can dominate every snap. Smith's arrival feels like the injection of confidence that could turn doubt into momentum. Rumors suggest that during early conversations with teammates, he made it clear that his mission is not simply personal accolades, but to build something lasting, something feared. Coaches, too, see the possibilities of designing blitz packages, disguises, and alignments that unleash chaos. Opponents may prepare for Washington's front four, but with Smith in the mix, there are whispers of hybrid looks and stunts that could wreak havoc. Beyond XS and OS, there's also the presence he brings to practice. Teammates see the intensity, the preparation, the fire in every drill. That energy is contagious, spreading across the roster and creating a culture shift. Even before the season starts, there's a different vibe. Washington feels dangerous, unpredictable, and for the first time in years, downright intimidating. The fan base has embraced the signing with open arms, and the buzz around the city reflects a blend of relief, excitement, and cautious optimism. Washington has long been searching for stability, for a narrative that doesn't revolve around drama or underachievement. Adding a player like Za'Darius Smith changes that storyline instantly. Bars, sports talk radio shows, and online forums have become echo chambers of speculation. How many sacks will he record? Which quarterbacks will he terrorize first? And can he be the catalyst that propels the team into playoff contention? Season ticket holders are already envisioning nights when the crowd roars as Smith takes down a rival quarterback at a critical moment. There's also a sense of pride that comes with knowing that a respected veteran chose DC when he likely had other suitors. That kind of commitment breeds belief. For a franchise desperate to write a new chapter, Smith's arrival symbolizes hope. It symbolizes fight. It symbolizes that the Commanders are not content with being an afterthought in the NFC East. Instead, they are preparing to unleash a storm, and Smith may be the eye of it. The narrative around Za'Darius Smith's move to Washington doesn't end with on-field performance. It extends into the perception of the entire franchise. For years, the Commanders have carried the stigma of inconsistency, internal turmoil, and a revolving door of expectations that rarely lived up to reality. Smith's presence has the potential to rewrite that narrative almost overnight. Around the league, players take notice when a respected veteran chooses a destination with conviction. Agents and free agents see it as a sign of legitimacy, of a team worth considering. This ripple effect can't be overstated, because building a winning culture often starts with a single signature, a single domino falling. Washington has long struggled to recruit top-tier talent without overpaying, but in landing Smith, the organization sent a subtle message. Things are changing. It's a gamble, yes, but also a symbol of ambition. And while no one is crowning them division champions in September, the whispers are growing that Washington might finally be moving from being a team people overlook to one opponent's fear. In a league where confidence and perception often shape reality, this signing could be the spark that alters Washington's trajectory for years to come. There's also the rivalry factor that fans and media can't stop obsessing over. The NFC East is one of the NFL's oldest, most bitterly contested divisions, with decades of history fueling the drama. Smith's arrival adds a fresh wrinkle to those battles. When Washington squares off against Philadelphia, it's no longer just about containing Hurts. It's about whether Smith can break through their dominant offensive line, considered one of the best in football. When Dallas comes to town, the narrative becomes whether Prescott can survive Smith's relentless edge rush behind an offensive line that has struggled with injuries in recent seasons. And when New York steps on the field, it's about whether Daniel Jones can finally prove he's the future, or if Smith will expose his weaknesses yet again. Each matchup now carries an extra layer of intrigue, an added subplot that fans will debate endlessly. Divisions are often defined by stars, and Smith's presence ensures that every NFC East showdown will have a headline revolving around him. Rivalries thrive on villains, and Washington may have just given their fans a new one to celebrate. It's theater, it's personal, and it's exactly what the division thrives on. What makes the situation even juicier is how Smith himself has reportedly embraced the challenge. According to whispers from those close to the locker room, he's not coming to Washington to quietly fit in. He wants to dominate, he wants to lead, and he wants to leave his fingerprints on the division. Those who know him best describe a competitor who thrives on big stages and relishes the chance to face elite competition week after week. For Smith, lining up against Prescott, Hurts, and Jones isn't just part of the schedule, it's personal validation. He understands the weight of playing in a division that's constantly under the national spotlight, where primetime games and playoff implications are the norm rather than the exception. By choosing Washington, he's stepping into the fire willingly, ready to embrace the noise, the scrutiny, and the pressure. Fans are already buzzing about the possibility of fiery post-game interviews, celebratory sack dances, and leadership moments that inspire teammates. If the whispers are true, Smith's arrival is more than just tactical, it's emotional. He's here to hunt, to prove, and to remind the football world why his name carries so much respect. And Washington couldn't be more ready. If you're enjoying the coverage, make sure to smash that like button and drop a comment with your thoughts on the Commanders' latest moves. We want to hear from you. Yet, as with any major signing, there are skeptics. Some analysts quietly question whether Smith can still play at the elite level that defined his earlier years. Injuries have slowed him at times, and doubters wonder if Washington may have invested heavily in a player past his prime. But even these criticisms fuel the storylines, because Smith's best weapon has always been proving people wrong. The skeptics point to age, mileage, and the brutal nature of playing in the trenches. Supporters counter with his track record, his conditioning, and his undeniable impact when healthy. This back and forth creates a buzz that only heightens anticipation. Every snap, every hit, every pressure becomes part of a larger narrative. Can Smith silence his critics one more time? The Washington fan base, long accustomed to disappointment, seems eager to rally behind him as a symbol of defiance. The media will dissect every stat, every performance, but for fans, the truth will be written in the moments that matter most: third downs, fourth quarters, rivalry games. And if Smith delivers in those moments, the doubters will vanish as quickly as they appeared, leaving only the legend of a quarterback hunter reborn in Washington. The timing of this move also can't be overlooked. Washington is at a crossroads as a franchise, with ownership changes, fan patience wearing thin, and a hunger for relevance that grows louder each season. Bringing in Smith at this moment feels like more than coincidence. It feels like a statement of intent, a deliberate move to remind the NFL that Washington still has teeth. It's about momentum, about generating headlines that shift focus from dysfunction to potential. Analysts say that winning organizations are built in layers, and this signing could be the cornerstone of a larger cultural rebuild. Pairing Smith with a roster that already features defensive talent creates the possibility of synergy, of a defense that finally lives up to its billing as one of the league's most talented units. The locker room dynamics, the coaching strategies, the fan support, all could converge into something bigger than expected. And if Washington manages to string together early wins with Smith leading the defensive charge, the storylines will snowball. Suddenly, the Commanders aren't a team in transition, they're a team on the rise. Timing, as always in football, is everything. And this feels perfectly timed. As the season approaches, the whispers evolve into roars. Training camp highlights, preseason flashes, and locker room soundbites will only feed the narrative that Washington has landed a defensive difference-maker. For fans, it's about more than stats. It's about pride, identity, and the thrill of knowing their team has someone who can strike fear into opponents. For the players, it's about trust, about believing that when the game is on the line, they have a veteran who can deliver. And for Smith himself, it's about legacy. He's not just chasing quarterbacks. He's chasing respect, redemption, and a lasting place in the story of one of football's most storied divisions. Every sack will be a message, every tackle for loss a reminder, every celebration a symbol of defiance. Washington hasn't always been feared, but with Smith in the mix, that might be about to change. Whether the experiment succeeds or falters will be revealed on the field, but for now, the buzz is deafening. The hunter has arrived in DC, and the NFC East will never be the same again. The only certainty is that everyone, from fans to rivals, is watching closely. Thanks for tuning into District Command Central. Make sure to subscribe and follow us for all the Commanders news you need. Until next time, keep the faith and hail to the Commanders.